How did your Super Rugby Pacific team go for round one? Stick around and I'll share insights on the movers and shakers for the first week of competition. Hey everyone, it's Coach H here, and you've found Inspired by Union, a channel where I discuss Southern Hemisphere rugby. Let's dive right in. Well, what a start to Super Rugby Pacific, and I mean, what a start. The Chiefs and Crusaders put on a show with 30 minutes of only 3 unforced errors before fatigue set in prior to the end of the first half. Absolutely fantastic rugby union. Quality in ball handling and decision making, identifying opportunities were hallmarks of the Chiefs' play. The Crusaders composed themselves after the halftime break and really dominated the forward exchanges. Veteran Owen Franks went beast mode, and there's a few loose head props are going to get schooled this season if they're not on point. The Crusaders' game style and really working their forwards through a 15 to 20 metre channel is really going to break teams down come the cooler months when the attrition of the competition starts to bite team lists. Hamilton put on a carnival atmosphere for this clash, and the hosts responded and showed that they'll have a high standing come finals at the end of the season. A final score of 33 to 29 in favour of the Chiefs, but this is a match where I believe that both teams really get a pass mark. The next game in was a huge drop in standards and excitement. I really felt for the commentators trying to squeeze lemonade out of the juice that was served up as a contest between the Brumbies and the Melbourne Rebels. Poor handling and poor decision making served up a nightmare for Rebels supporters to witness. The much vaunted supersized forward pack played on ego, trying to outmuscle their opponents with little effect. Continually T-boning into the chest of defenders, the Rebels continually served up slow ball. Meanwhile, the Brumbies were polar opposites, dominant and getting their head and shoulders through the defender in their collisions, generating lightning quick ball for their halves, and Lolosio with excellent decision making. Won his battle of the tens, and the Brumbies comfortably dispatched the Rebels by 30 points to 3. Meanwhile, in Perth, it was the Hurricanes and Western Force that put on a show in a clash between two sides that traditionally play an open style of running rugby. The Canes got off to a flyer and built out to a 22-0 halftime lead through forward dominance and some high IQ rugby plays by Geordie Barrett. The Force, although outclassed for periods of the game, in White and Donaldson at 9 and 10 have a couple of game drivers that the longer they spend together in the seat, the better they're going to get as this side progresses through the season. The Hurricanes dominated this win on the road, 44 to 14. The Blues and Fijian and Drua had tricky, windy conditions to navigate in their clash in Whangarei, and it was the Blues that best used it in a first half onslaught. If the Blues would have concerns, it would be at scrum time, where a couple of lapses cost them scrum penalties, and the premier packs of the competition would have taken note. The Ndrua never really hit their strides in this match, and they were dispatched by a 34 to 10 scoreline. In Dunedin, the Scarfies had the zoo rocking, and both teams bought into the atmosphere by reciprocating with an excellent game of rugby played under the roof. Make no mistake, Moana and Pacifica have improved already in this short time under Tana Umanga. The team looks well drilled, especially their forwards staying in the battle against a much vaunted Highlanders pack for long periods of time. The Highlanders came into this game with an exciting back three, and it was Jacob Ratumai Tavuki Neepkins that really put on a show. A 35 to 21 scoreline for the Highlanders, and perhaps an early contender for try of the year. At Suncorp Stadium, the Reds did me dirty by upsetting my prediction for this game. A willing contest saw the Reds dominate this game for long periods, and the game style that they're developing under Les Kiss of clinical, methodical, quick ball at the breakdown and sharp manoeuvres in the backs is building nicely and sure to fill the faithful at Suncorp and the home games ahead. Hunter Paisami was brutal in defence for the hosts and chipped in with a try for good measure. The Tars stayed in the fight without threatening to overtake the match. Not an ideal start for the New South Welshmen. Comfortable for the Reds in the end by 40 points to 22. This week's MVP award goes to Jacob Ratumai-Tavuki-Nibkins. Moving south from the Blues in search of regular game time, the fullback had a mighty display on both sides of the ball and really linked well with his outsides. My Betty Crocker for biggest shocker goes to the Melbourne Rebels. Their approach to this derby game was really poor, and their attention to detail where they attacked faces instead of spaces just bought into the defensive mindset that are the Brumbies. If you're finding these insights helpful, consider smashing the subscribe button and hitting that bell for more insights every week. So were you happy with your team's performance in round one? You in the rugby universe, please leave a comment on how you think your team's tracking after week one.